As you may have seen at the 5 o'clock show, 5:30 as well, the King and Queen are in Canada. Of course, the King Charles III, will read the speech from the throne. It begins the 45th sitting of Parliament, the first for the recently elected government of Mark Carney's Liberals returning to power. Lots to talk about. So, of course, who do we call on? Alex Marland, who is the Jaroslavsky Chair in Political Trust and Leadership at Acadia University, also Professor of Politics. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. Is this merely window dressing, having the king and all the pomp and ceremony? And if so, who's it meant to send a message to? Canadians or the White House?
Yeah, I mean, Mark Carney doesn't think it's a joke, and there's a lot of monarchists who think this is wonderful and fantastic, and I'm sure a lot of Canadians think this is good. Let's be honest, the audience here is mostly Canadians. I'm pretty sure President Trump is not glued to his television going to watch from the speech from the throne. Why I actually find this all kind of frustrating because, you know, the Liberals historically have been against the monarchy. They've tried to find ways to remove Canada from its British connection. And to all of a sudden come on and say, well, we're going to use the monarchy when it's convenient for us is a bit rich. Except I will note that Mark Carney, of course, who spent a lot of time in Britain,
sure.
There was even a report out recently that he's requiring or encouraging people in the Prime Minister's office to use British spelling. So maybe it means something for him.
It certainly is quite a departure, isn't it, than what we've seen in prior Liberal governments. So there is work here, and we will hear the speech from the throne, which lays out the priorities of this coming government. And Mark Carney has mentioned a number of them. He's got a very ambitious program laid out, things he wants to hit by July 1st, by Canada Day. He wants to have trade barriers removed in the country. We haven't been able to do that for decades, and suddenly he's going to do that in a couple of months. Is that overreach?
Well, I think it's good to be ambitious, especially when you come out of an election and, you know, he won the election. You know, he also wants to be able to bring in a tax cut by then as well. I think it's useful for viewers to be aware of, like, what is the speech from the throne? What does it do? And what it does is it takes all of the main things that were promised during the election and it formalizes them by getting the king's representative, or in this case, the king himself, to actually sit there and say, my government will do these things. So it's going to lay out the agenda for the Liberal government in the coming period of time.
Okay. One of the things that we saw him do in the lead up to this is present a document to each of his cabinet ministers that basically had that shopping list of things he expects to get done. How would that have gone down in cabinet? Because we haven't seen, I don't recall having seen anything like that before. And does that undermine some of the power that these cabinet ministers have?
Well, okay, so cabinet ministers in Canada don't actually have anywhere near the amount of power that we might hope that they would, and certainly not as much as they used to in years gone by. So much power is concentrated in the Prime Minister, or for that matter, in premiers. What happens is a Prime Minister outlines the mandate, outlines the kinds of things that they want ministers to do, and they provide a letter, and they do this with premiers as well. And what ends up happening is those have been posted online since Justin Trudeau. But when Justin Trudeau's mandate letters went out, they were these flowery things they were pretty much nonsense sometimes. But they also did have clues about saying what it was that Trudeau wanted each minister to do. Carney, in many ways, is trying to show he's not Trudeau. So he just comes out and says, listen, I'm not going to bother with all that, and I'll just have a single mandate letter, and all of you, I expect you to follow it. So what it tells me is Carney's going to be kind of pivoting and reacting to things rather than being able to forecast what's going to be out there for the next couple of years.
Okay, we already saw one of his ministers heading to Alberta or the prairies to talk, you know, to a bit of an olive branch there. That's obviously going to be top of mind for him.
You know, there's a lot of talk about this idea of separatist movement coming out of Alberta, and obviously some of the spillover into Saskatchewan, and I think we have to take it seriously. But the reality is that public opinion polls do not support any level of separatism in the way that sometimes the media is according it.
Okay. So when the House gets up to full speed, here we have Andrew Scheer sitting as acting leader of the opposition, the Conservatives, Pierre Poilievre on the outside looking in. How difficult is that for him to lead a party when he's literally not in the House?
Yeah, well, it's not easy. So, I mean, it has been done before. It's not unusual for it to happen. Frankly, it happens occasionally. I mean, Danielle Smith didn't have a seat when she became premier. Andrew Furey didn't have a seat when he became premier over in Newfoundland and Labrador. So these things do happen. It's obviously an embarrassment for Pierre Poilievre, and he will be back in the House. The main thing that's going to happen is he is going to work with Andrew Scheer, who is going to be leader of the party in the House, but not leader of the Conservative Party. That job is Poilievre's. Yeah. And so they'll be working together. And the main thing that I'm looking for is tone. So it's not even just the questions. It's, are they jerks? Or are they just asking legitimate questions? Are they looking for sound bites and quips? Are they looking to embarrass Carney? Or are they simply trying to hold the government to account? So the tone matters a lot, and they talk about that ahead of time.
Well, let's talk about the NDP. It was made obvious today that they will not get official party status. How will that shape debate in the House in general, and what does that mean for the party?
Okay, so in the House of Commons, there's a rule that says you have to have 12 seats if you want to have official party status in the House. Official party status gives you money to be able to hire staff. It gives you the ability to ask more frequent questions during question period, and it gives you seats on the standing committees. This means that effectively the NDP is going to be really doing very little when Parliament is meeting. So the fact that they are not qualifying for official party status does tell me there's a possibility that in the right moment, there could potentially be some members of the NDP who end up wanting to split away. We've already seen some dissent occurring. Some of them are not happy with who their interim leader is. And if those people do split away, big hypothetical, of course, where do they end up? Do they end up siding with another party or what? But there's a lot of rebuilding that has to happen with that party.
Okay, it all makes for interesting viewing, and we know you'll be back to help guide us through it. Alex Marland, thank you very much.
A pleasure.